Another live video. It's titled "A Biden Win Could Crush the Markets." I can picture the emails I'm going to get. FrankCurzioResearch.com. This isn't about politics. This is about data. I'm a data-driven guy. I don't care if you love Trump. I don't care if you love Biden. However, over the past 10 days or so, we've seen a major shift. Been talking about, people ask me to explain more in details of the sell-side analysts, which is the street, the Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan's, Bank of America's, Merrill Lynch's, is you're seeing them change their sentiment of if a Biden win may not be good for stocks. And why over the past 10 days is one is he's leading tremendously in the polls, right? So he's leading every battleground state. I don't consider Ohio and Texas battleground states. I think they're going to be red. And we know what happened in 2016, so Trump could win, absolutely. But right now, based on the data, it's assuming that Biden is going to win the presidency, and that's only on Tuesday. Now, why last 10 days? Because we actually had Trump keep his mouth shut and let Biden talk and talk about what his policy is going to be. And Biden's on the campaign trail right now saying the same thing, that, hey, we're going to take a conservative approach when it comes to COVID, right? Because what do we hear in the markets coming down? Well, COVID cases are rising. That's not why the market's coming down, okay? We're going to get a vaccine pretty soon that's supposed to be rising. The fact that, you look at Spain, Italy, France, Germany are closing. By the way, they mandated masks. You have to wear masks when you're indoors. Have to, not like the U.S., much more stringent. Have to wear masks there and on public transportation, and their cases are skyrocketing. So it should tell you a little bit about masks. We need more theories, more studies on masks to show that they work, and not just people just shouting that they work, right? I think you should still wear them. Anyway, if you're looking at the statistics when it comes to COVID, right? You're following the science. It's if you are under 55, 60, you basically have nothing to worry about. Okay, if regardless of what channel you're watching, unless you're in a danger zone, you're over 70, have underlying conditions. You're talking about think about every athlete that announced that they got it, put on TV and Twitter and all the actors and actresses, everybody's okay. Okay, everybody's okay. It's a little bit worse than the flu based on statistics, unless you're over 70 or if you're in a danger zone. Yet Biden is adamant about possibly closing the economy. That's what's scaring the shit in the markets. Again, people don't want to tell you this because they're afraid to talk politics. I don't care. This is about your portfolio. I'm assuming that Biden is going to win because I'm looking at the data. Now, if he wins, let me show you something. This is a big deal. This is what's starting to settle in now. Because when you look at, this is operating earnings for S&P 500, okay? 2008, they crashed. Of course, they came back pretty strong. But look at this trend. These are operating earnings for S&P 500 companies, right? Look at this trend until 2017, the beginning of 2017 right here. Look where operating earnings went. They surged. Why? Because of favorable tax policies, right? We can all agree with that. People say, well, that might not have filtered down to everybody, but it did filter down to a lot of things because at this stage right here, before the market really came down and COVID, we had one of the strongest economies in history. We had an unemployment rate that was basically at records, unemployment, basically zero. I don't want the job to get a job. The economy was doing good. Housing market was doing good. Our economy was in very, very good shape. We saw corporate taxes get lowered, right, from the high 30s to 21%. Biden says he's going to roll that back. He's going to actually raise taxes. This is where things are different because you can't argue whether it's a Republican or a Democrat president and look how good it performed. The market performed good under every single presidency, right? Just about, with exceptions of a few years of a few black swan events. If you look at a chart of the S&P 500 since the start of the 1950s, it became 500 companies. It's the biggest secular trend you'll ever see. Okay, so every president can argue that the market did well during that time. You're seeing operating earnings. You saw AT&T, you saw Verizon, you saw Amazon. They were giving checks to people. They were hiring more people. The market was good. Times are different. We're in a pandemic right now, right? Here's the pandemic. We're in the pandemic, and you're looking at raising taxes, and you're looking at closing the economy. Most businesses cannot operate under 80%, and we're probably about 70% right now just in the U.S., and you're talking about dialing back. Nobody models for 30% declines in a year, not to mention airlines, travel companies saw not even earnings declines, but sales declines of casinos, 70, 80, 90%. The only thing that saved us was a stimulus, right? We had the stimulus come out. We had $6 trillion, which is insane. A lot of that's been spent. We have some on the fiscal side. That's why we're dying for another stimulus package. That could be delayed. Why? Because if Biden wins, you're going to see probably the Republicans get stubborn and say, hey, we had $1.8 trillion on the table. You didn't want to accept it and whatever. But now if they control everything, the Democrats, we're going to have to wait till January before all this stuff gets passed. That's a long period. If you look at every single market, the market crashes and pullbacks since the credit crisis, they happen in weeks. Even the one in March happened in a couple of weeks. This is a long period. It may seem short term from now until the end of the year, but Biden going around saying we're going to have a conservative approach, we're thinking about shutting down the economy. If they do that, we are going to see a doesn't matter who gets elected. This is about your portfolio. You want to position yourself. But over the last 10 days, we saw a major shift in sentiment. You usually don't see that in like such a short period. of people saying, hey, capital gains taxes are going to rise considerably if Biden wins, and if he does, hey, you know what? Start selling your stocks now, before year end. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of these funds, a lot of people pour out of it. Let's see what happens if Biden wins. He's also talking about fracking and things like that, whatever. I don't think he'll abolish fracking completely, but there's a reason why oil prices are sitting at 5-month lows. Okay, so some of these policies, now that we know, we actually had a chance to listen to him speak and he's going on the campaign trail, people are worried that, hey, if you close this economy like I say you're going to do, it's going to be really, 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 really bad. And we are going to fall in a recession. I'm going to tell you something, 1.8 trillion is not going to be enough to get us out of it. It's going to be a lot more than that. But that stimulus might not come in a while. That's the real reason why the market's coming down. Feel free to email me, frankcurzioresearch.com. Again, I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm telling you things that people are not telling you because they're afraid, because they have agendas and stuff like that. That's the real reason why the market's going down. It's not going down. COVID cases are rising. It's a Biden win. It's starting to be factored in and saying, hey, if this guy really closed the economy and he's going to raise taxes when we're in a massive, massive recession outside of that $6 trillion that came into the market, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, at least over the next 6 months until we get a vaccine, and that's pretty scary. That provides uncertainty. And you guys know from listening to me what happens during uncertain times. Usually stocks get crushed. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Biden, if he does win, that he doesn't go crazy with these policies, and please don't close the economy with a 1% rate of people that get infected. I mean, seriously, if you're outside that danger zone, just follow the science. You should be following the science, and hopefully he does, and he doesn't close this economy. If he does, it's a game changer, and we'll position ourselves accordingly because this market is going to come down. I'm Frank Curzio. As always, I'll come back to you guys soon. Take care.